Joanne, when you say research, what exactly goes into something like this? Because this is, I would say, not one of those things where, you're a scientist and you're a physicist, so you do research about certain studies, but this is something which is, we can say, spiritually inclined. So when we say research towards enlightenment, what does that entail?
Well, for
I
me,
was curious to know.
sure. For me, it involves having a question about some aspect of reincarnation, and then putting together a research project in which I would bring people in that would volunteer, and we would do a regression that would focus in on that aspect. For instance, I did one on physical karma. So if people with chronic conditions came in, and we wanted to see if that condition originated in a prior lifetime. I've done research projects on what happens in the afterlife, while you're planning this lifetime. So I do my own research in terms of the regressions information that I get working with individual clients. And then I also have an extensive library on what authors and therapists and other people in the leading edge of this field have written about it. So, and then I go to the Casey readings as well. And then I sort of just put it all together and present my findings in the books that I write.
Wonderful. And yes, you've written 6 books. How did that come along? And they're all related to spirituality, enlightenment,
All
or
but
it's something different?
Yeah, all but one of them. The first book I wrote was actually I wrote it about Charlottesville, the town that I live in, and it was for the it's a coffee table book about Charlottesville. So there's nothing esoteric in there whatsoever. My first esoteric book was on soul writing, which was the thesis for my master's degree. So
Mm, mm.
and then I did a sequel to that called Your Soul Remembers, in which I show how you can use soul writing for getting past life information. And then
Mm.
I did the book on the chronic, Karma Can Be a Real Pain, which is the chronic um, conditions origin, and one on the afterlife. And now my new book is about Edgar Casey and T.J. Davis, who Casey said was the reincarnation of both Thomas Jefferson and Alexander the Great. So that's my first biography.
Wow. That sounds very interesting.
It is. I think it is. I found the whole thing. It took me 8 years to write that one because there was so much
Wow.
information in the
Wow.
Edgar Casey Foundation archives, and I was going back and forth to do that research. And then he's still alive. T.J. Davis is still alive. He actually lives here in Charlottesville, and so I was able to interview him. We became friends, and uh, it's not so much about him being Thomas Jefferson, but more about his. He grew up in the Casey household. When he was taken to Casey when he was 2 days old, and Casey did a reading on him then. So he was part of Casey's life for the first 8.5 years of TJ's life, and then Mr. Casey passed. But what's interesting about that story is that Edgar Casey predicted for this little baby that he could do for the world what Thomas Jefferson did for the United States. And
Mm,
that never
mm.
happened. And so the book is about why didn't it happen, and what's the role of free will in in the outcome of our lives. So there's quite a few layers in that book that intertwine with the theme of reincarnation.
It's also quite deep from the sound of it, going to the intricate details of how one questions about regression, or one questions about past life, or many of your clients have asked you, why am I here during this time?
Yeah,
So it may be giving a lot of answers towards that.
yeah. I mean, it's the scope of past life work is really enormous, and its potential for healing is truly great. People come, most of the time they're coming to me when they're asking, I don't know why I'm here. What's my
Mm,
purpose? Why am I even on the earth right now? Others come because they're having issues that they can't get answers to through traditional means. So they may be going to a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist, or they may go to their minister or whoever they go to for guidance, and they're not getting any answers. And they're wondering why. What is this? And we're looking, is this a pattern? Is this something that they brought in with them from another life because they didn't finish it in the previous life and they're working on it now? So, and if it's an illness, if it's a chronic illness, did it start in another lifetime and they're working on it now? When I did that research project, about 30% of the people in that project had a spontaneous healing. Once they knew what the source was of what they were dealing with, it went away. About 30% of them.
Wow.
So it's very, like I said, its potential for healing is very, very powerful, and for transformation too. Changing your perspective about life is also a big benefit of past life work. Yeah. So it's just got a lot of, and usually you only need one session. You don't have to come over and over and over again like you would with traditional therapy, because you go right to the
Right.
source, the origin.